This is a podcast that my son Tully and I did a few weeks ago. He was really interested in making a little podcast and asking me about my music career and my new music. I know this sounds like I made him do it, and I mean, listen, he was interested. I just obliged. Okay, all right, here we go.
Let's start.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Tully.
So today I'm with Whitney.
Hi.
Yeah, she's a singer, you know.
Also, your mom.
Yeah, also my mom. Which
Yeah.
I'm just Tully.
You're Tully, yeah.
Yeah. And today I'm gonna be interviewing mom.
Yeah.
About her main career at singing and most of her, that kind of career. Okay.
Tully prepared these questions before. I haven't heard what they are, except for maybe one. I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask questions.
Okay.
For the interview. So.
Just a quick note to say this is where I got up and actually went and had a glass of water because I was thirsty.
Sorry, I had to get some water and then I got a Timbit because it was there.
Okay.
There you
go. Okay. First question. When did you start your first ever record?
My first record, I started, it was in 2009. I started singing jazz in 2007 and gigging in 2009. So I decided to do a record because it would help me get gigs so people knew what I sounded like. So I recorded on Roncesvalles in a basement. I can't remember what the studio was called, with Peter Hill and Dan Fortin and Nico Dan, and we made a little 6-song EP. That was the first thing I ever did. And then my first big record was in 2012.
Have you ever messed up on your albums?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the process of making something, is that you make mistakes. So, you kind of go out there, especially with music and art and jazz, you sort of, you put it way out there and then, well, this is the way I do it. And then you kind of draw it back a little bit. So we've done that before. There've been, songs we've recorded for records and never released because they just didn't work. Or I don't know, you make mistakes when you play all the time. Sometimes mistakes will lead to things that aren't mistakes. Sometimes they're different parts of songs. Like I write a song, doesn't really work. And then, a year or two later, I write a different song and then I can't figure out what the bridge is going to be, like the middle part. And so I bring a piece of that song that didn't work from a year ago into that piece that does work. And then it all comes together.
That's a really smart idea for making mistakes and then you make them better kind of.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing for life too.
Have you ever just made a mistake but you just kept it because it was too funny?
I did. On my first record, we did a bunch of for one of the songs. Do you remember the song that goes, "I want the waiter with the water, I want the waiter"? So that song, we got all these dishes to play on and bang around on because they made good sounds. And one of the dishes that we used in the recording actually came from the rehearsal studio, and it was a glass, and it was like a water glass, and it had a really good ping to it. So the drummer Morgan Childs did this percussion solo on it at one point, and it just shattered into a million pieces when we were recording, but we kept it because it was so funny. So if you really listen to that song in the percussion solo in the middle, if you listen really carefully, you can hear the glass shatter.
The mistakes sometimes are so funny that they keep it, and sometimes it actually just gets into the beat.
Yeah.
And you just make a mistake, but it just gets into the beat.
Yeah.
And it's actually better.
Absolutely. And if you're doing that when you're performing, I used to be really scared if I would make a mistake when I was performing, but as long as you I'm a bit more experienced now, and I find that as long as you kind of don't let on, most people don't know that you've made a big mistake. I mean, you try not to make mistakes, but if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You just kind of have fun with it or go with it.
It's basically what's happening like right now because we're making a podcast, basically.
Yeah.
And we could make a mistake right now if we wanted.
Yeah, we could.
How did you become a singer?
I was always singing, but I used to copy your Auntie Q. Auntie Q has a really, really good voice. So I used to just copy her initially, and I think my papu was also a singer. I didn't know that till I was older, but...
Again, just a note here that the word papu is the Greek word for grandfather, so I was referring to my grandfather, Alex Barris.
I ended up being a singer, I think partly because he was. It was just sort of in my genes. Do you know what genes are?
Yeah.
Not like genes, but like the makeup of my body, kind of my soul. Yeah, so I started out, I would sing in like musicals on stage, but I always wanted to be a jazz singer just because I kind of grew up listening to that kind of music, and I wanted to know what that felt like and whether that was something that I loved, and it was.
Did you have a different job before you were a singer?
Yeah, I've had lots of different jobs before. I still have other jobs even though I'm a singer.
Yeah.
I have worked... I was a nanny for a while. I was a very bad nanny, actually. You could probably attest to this being my son, that I'm not the best mom in the world, but I was a very bad nanny. I cleaned out horse poop from stalls at a horse farm for a lot of Christmases and summers. I worked as a cleaner at the Center of Forensic Sciences. What else did I do? I sold lipstick. I was an actor for a long time, so I had lots of acting jobs, mostly for theater. Did a lot of plays and musicals. And now I'm I did work in an office and I did work in restaurants, but now I work at a brewery. I work at the Second Wedge in Uxbridge.
People usually have a lot of jobs before they have probably after that, you probably have another job after the brewery.
I think so too.
You have a lot of jobs.
Well, it's something I think that happens sometimes with parents who stay home with their kids. When their kids are old enough to kind of go to school and be a little bit more independent than the parent who was the stay-at-home parent or the primary caregiver, as they say, they realize that they can, if they want, they can go out and have a different career. And so some people will go back to school when they're in their 40s and learn a new thing. They'll go back to like university or college and learn a new thing and then go into that. Or I don't know, sometimes you just fall into a different world and try it out and it feels good.
Yeah. Have you ever got injured on stage?
I have not got, touch wood. Oh my God. I have not gotten injured on stage. I mean, maybe when I was doing plays and stuff, there have been times when there have been little things that have happened. Nothing major.
Like a few scratches, maybe?
Yeah. You know, you go too fast into something or there was a time when I remember when I was rehearsing once in Lindsay, Ontario. It was my first professional acting gig. And we were rehearsing a show in a very old theater that is probably haunted. But we were rehearsing and then I moved from center stage to stage right, and this lens from one of the lights up in the rafters fell. It was a big glass thick lens, fell and just shattered on the stage where I had been standing. So I almost got hurt, but I didn't. There's a lot of things in place in those places. If you're with a good company, that they make sure that you stay safe.
Ooh, shout out to the Canadian Actors Equity Association here, because they are the people who keep you safe. And also to Conrad Boyce and all the crazy people that had that summer with me in 1998 at the Academy Theatre in Lindsay.
There's a lot of rules in place to make sure that actors and performers stay safe. But you also have to kind of keep yourself safe. You have to stand up for yourself if you feel like you're in a situation that's not safe. You have to say like, hang on a second, I don't think this is okay. Like we should probably try something else or do this in a different way so that nobody gets hurt. Yeah.
Like, I kind of get how you say it's haunted because the light fell.
It did. Yeah.
But it's probably most likely actually because it was old.
It was old, yeah. And it was like getting cold and hot, and it probably just shrunk and grew and fell down.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Have you ever did something funny on stage?
I don't know. I just try to stay very like loose and open when I'm performing so that if something arises that is funny and everybody notices it, I mean, you have to kind of highlight it or talk about it. Or my family is very funny. My grandfather was very funny. My aunt, my dad, a lot of people in my family are really funny.
Listening back to this, I realize how silly it is that I said my family, because I'm sitting there in front of my son who's interviewing me. Truly, it is our family that I'm talking about, not just my family.
And so maybe I just follow their genetics again. I don't know.
You have like genes of them kind. Like your brain is kind of like the same.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten mad on stage?
Yeah, not very often. There's a lot of give and take when you're playing jazz. And when you're performing on stage in general, give and take, like you give, you take, you give, you take, vice versa, everybody else on stage. And if that is out of whack, if the balance is off and someone is taking too much, then it gets frustrating and feels weird. Sometimes there are people that talk in the audience while you're performing, and that's okay. I find that if I'm in a restaurant or a bar or something like that, I don't expect people to be really, really quiet because they're there with other people and they're eating and they're enjoying. If you're in a concert setting, like if you're in like a hall where the lights are down and everyone has bought tickets and they're all sitting in their seats, like, yeah, don't talk because that's not cool. But I think if you're at a restaurant and you're there to listen to the music, I think you kind of have to be conscious of what's happening and you can't get too overly loud, because there's been times where I've been at a place that's a restaurant and I sang a song and somebody was talking really loud through the song to the extent that the rest of the audience was like turning around and like looking at the guy who was talking a lot and wondering like why he was being so loud, and he was really unaware of how loud his voice was. And that was kind of frustrating, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Makes for a good story after.
Have you ever been embarrassed on stage?
Yeah. Yeah, lots of times. When I was first starting out and I would forget a lyric, that was really embarrassing. Because you want to get up there and you want to show people your best. And if you make a mistake in the beginning, sometimes it feels really scary and feels really embarrassing. But I kind of got used to, well, I did it more and I didn't make as many mistakes. But if you just kind of roll with it, it doesn't hurt as much.
This is not a part of the questions.
Okay,
but I have one. I mean, who's your favorite singer?
I have a lot of favorite singers. It's hard to pick one. Frank Sinatra, Anita O'Day, I don't know, Ella Fitzgerald. I was listening to Sly Stone the other day, and he was a wonderful singer. Or Aretha Franklin was, one of the best singers in the world. But some of my favorite singers are people like Tom Waits or Neil Young or, I don't know, Bob Dylan. They're not great singers, but they can really tell a story and they have such great character to their voice that adds to the whole piece of who they are.
Like, also, not trying to be mean, but like some people have like different opinions.
Do you have a favorite singer?
David Bowie.
Yeah, he's a pretty good singer. David Bowie. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for myself.
You have a question for yourself? Okay.
Like, I want to ask you that.
Okay.
Was David Bowie Canadian?
No, David Bowie's not Canadian. He was British.
Oh.
He was born, his name is actually David Jones. That was his name, David Jones. Davy Jones. But there was kind of already a
Davy Jones Locker.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he changed his name when he initially he just went as David Jones, whatever, but then he changed his name eventually to David Bowie. Yeah. Can I ask you some questions?
Sure.
Okay, so yesterday we were driving somewhere. I
Were
think
you
he wanted.
driving to Winners?
Yeah, we were driving to Winners. And I put some of my songs on because I was able to record some bed tracks last summer. So we listened to some of them in the car. And it wasn't the first time. Was it the first time you'd heard them?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. What did you like about the songs?
They, like, you know, like, they're jazz, and I love jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And because how can you not say no to songs that your mom literally makes?
Just a pause to appreciate, how can you not say no? He's great.
Well, you could if you wanted to, because you can say whatever you want to your mom.
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll be a songwriter someday?
I don't know. Maybe.
How do you think mom writes songs?
You have, like, a very bright insight in your songs.
Oh, thank you.
That gives it, like, happy, and then, like, a sad, or like a normal song. Because, like, all emotions are in that, like, embarrassed, happy, mad,
Yep.
embarrassed, sad.
Cool. What do you think my songs need more of?
I would say, like, you should give it, like, a solo kind of.
Yeah, there
What-
will be.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should give some of your songs, like, a solo kind of in the middle of it.
Okay. What do you think I could have less of in my songs?
Less.
Like, what did you not like about the songs?
Like,
You can be honest with me. You can be honest.
like, in the song, kind of, like, every single time, like, not you, but the pianos is like, na, 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 and then every single second it goes, na, 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 na.
Okay. So maybe less of that. What would you like to hear a song about in this world?
Probably about, like, kind of like our family. Because not just
Yeah?
like us, like
Uh-huh.
our family, and kind of like a bit of like happiness, kind of.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In memories.
Yeah.
That could be like
Memories?
Rememberies.
This is just another moment to appreciate this Tullyism, rememberies. Actually, it's a family thing. My other boys said the same thing when they were younger. Rememberies. It's genius.
Rememberies.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to be a musician someday?
I would say maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I might be. Because,
Yeah.
you know.
You don't have to be, right?
Yeah, you know,
okay.
sometime I might actually be a musician to be like a piano player. Yeah, because I want to help you make good songs.
Right.
And some, like, better.
Right. So the songwriting was something that I kind of came to a little bit later. I
Well-
did a lot of, from 2009 to like 2020, I was performing a lot. I was gigging a lot.
Yeah.
And I wrote a little bit. Like, I had my trio album with Nathan Hiltz, the Bright Lunch Trio. You know that one, right? Yeah. So I was collaborating with him, which means like he was writing the music and I was writing the lyrics. Yeah. And so I did that record, but I didn't do a lot of my own songwriting. And so when the pandemic happened and they didn't have any more gigs, which is what I was usually doing, I found that in order to kind of feel more happier and more balanced and stuff, it really helped to use my creative energy to kind of sit down at the piano and write. And so I had to kind of learn how to play for myself and figure out how to write songs. And so that's what all these songs from this album have come out of. I think I started writing just before the pandemic and then kind of continued all the way through. So I've got a good 5 or 6 years of songs pent up that are going into this record.
Have your voice cracked on stage before?
Yeah. You know what? I once did an audition. It was probably one of the hardest auditions I've ever done because it was for, it's so embarrassing. It was for, was it Canada's Got Talent or something like that?
Wait,
No.
You went to Canada's
Or Canadian Idol. That's what it was.
Oh, I thought you went to that.
Canadian Idol. It was embarrassing. I was at least 10 years older than all the other people in line. And I ended up auditioning, and I sort of got through the different tiers and like the different levels. And then I got to the end, not the end, but with the celebrity judges, the famous people that you audition for. Usually people are on your side. They want you to give them your best so that they can see, what you can do. But this kind of audition was more for making interesting television. So they wanted to kind of catch you off guard and make you mess up, sort of. So it was more interesting to watch. And so it wasn't very easy to do. And I ended up going into this. I didn't know how big the space was until I got into the space for my audition. And I started to sing, and it was such a huge auditorium. I tried to fill the whole place with my voice, and I cracked. I cacked.
Khaki.
Yeah, I cacked.
See the judges go like, "Oh no."
No, they were fine. I feel bad that was what they had to do at that point in their careers. I don't know. They're fine.
So now let's talk about her music.
Mm-hmm.
Just a note for context that he's referring to me as her because he's reading his questions that he wrote down. He wrote like 3 pages of questions for me, and sort of wrote them, I think, as like the host to his audience. So, yeah.
Her music is beautiful, and it makes me think of good times.
Oh, okay. That's
And
nice.
Also, sometimes your jazz, if it's really good, sometimes I get emotional.
Do you? I'm not surprised. You're a lot like me, and I cry at most things. I love that. Do you really feel emotional when you listen to music? Yeah.
Music connects with good memories.
Right. So it makes a kind of picture in your mind and makes you think of certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could just talk about your new record to them.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm just going to interject here because it's been a little while since we did this podcast, and we've moved along sort of in our process of making Curtains of Light, my next record. So we had a couple of really great days in studio where we put some vocal harmonies on some of our tracks, as well as some horns and guitar. There's going to be some strings on them, and I'm really excited about the way this is all shaping up and it's all coming together. There's some incredible musicians on this record and a really great production team, and I just cannot believe my luck, and I can't wait for this music to be out in the world, and we'll be releasing that record in November, so keep your eyes peeled for Curtains of Light in November.
Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Do you have anything else to tell us? Or?
Tully, thank you so much for having me sit here and for preparing all these questions in this beautiful room. And it took us a really long time to set up because I couldn't find a piece of our equipment because I lost my mind. I'm still dealing with the end of COVID a little bit. So I have a little bit of COVID brain. And so anyway, it was interesting, but here we are. And I'm really glad that we got to sit down and talk because you're awesome. And I love you.
Also, thank you for making me come here to give me like my first time being public here.
You're very good at it. I think it's in your genes.
So
thanks, buddy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We might see you in a different time.
Okay.
And bye-bye.
Bye.
If you can, subscribe to her.
On YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
And follow her on Instagram because she has the best dressing videos.
I think that's a really good place to stop.
Well, that is that. He did an amazing job. I'm not surprised. He's fantastic. And if you are able to contribute to the crowdfund, it's still going. So if you want to go to my website, it's whitneyrb.com. Check out the crowdfunding page. There's lots of ways to donate if you are able, different presale options, as well as some perks. So yeah, it's been a great podcast here. I'm amazed at this kid. I mean, I always am. But anyway, I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.